when we're making a change in housing and care for someone, their world is being turned upside down.
True.
As a furniture walker, they need help with balance. If they're a person that gets up in the middle of the night 3 times to go to the bathroom, they know how many steps it is. They know what corner to hang on to so they don't fall. They know what side the toilet paper's on. All of that is going to change. And I promise you, your loved one is thinking about the mechanics of survival.
Welcome to the Answers for Elders radio show.
And welcome back, everyone, to Answers for Elders Radio Network. And we're talking about a checklist as you are touring senior living. And I am here with Daphne Davis, the CEO and founder of Pinnacle Senior Placements. And Daphne, in this segment, I want to talk about values. You'd mention it so often in what you talk about, the highest values. And I think it's really important that we dive into what does that mean, Daphne?
So the primary thing that the highest values mean is what is important to the person who needs a change in housing and a change or an augmentation of care.
Yep.
And those are the values that are important. I'm going to speak to one that's very common that usually is misunderstood. And that is when I hear a child, an adult child, saying, well, my mom used to do, and I'd love to see her do it again. And very seldom does that happen.
Right.
And so adult children will make their highest value a place with lots of activities, a place with lots of hubbub, and most often that is not a value of the 80 or 90-year-old.
No.
And I say 80 or 90-year-old because they're not 40, 50, 60 anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And life changes. It slows down. There's a different set of what it means to get through a day. And as adult children, we're not there.
No.
We don't understand it. We still want to hang on to mom or dad as that vibrant person, and sometimes can even get to the place of, I don't remember or acknowledge that they're 80 plus years old.
Yeah. We're in denial. I
Yes.
remember distinctly thinking very much what the things that you're talking about. And because I kept thinking, mom, she could just get better. She didn't get better. And it was like, yes, she had joy in different ways, but I think meeting them where they are and understanding that their life evolves differently and than what we think it does. And that is allowing them their own dignity, their own autonomy. And I think that's what's so important.
As we listen and discover, and sometimes we have to watch, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we have to read between the lines. Sometimes we have to take off our hat as son or daughter and really separate ourselves and listen to what we're hearing. Because when we're making a change in housing and care for someone, their world is being turned upside down.
True.
If they're a person who needs to, and you can learn about this someplace else, but as a furniture walker, they need help with balance. If they're a person that gets up in the middle of the night 3 times to go to the bathroom, they know how many steps it is. They know what corner to hang on to so they don't fall. They know what side the toilet paper's on. All of that is going to change. And I promise you, your loved one is thinking about the mechanics of survival.
Yeah.
And now you're embarking on the place of saying, I don't want you to survive anymore, mom. I want you to live. But living is not going to look like how you envision it.
Right.
It's
Right.
going to still be different than what you think. Magically, they're not going to have the energy to do the things that they used to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Magically, the cognition is not going to be there to synapse and have the conversations that they used to have. Get them into singing. If they were singers, singing somehow comes through. So
Yeah.
find those things. But my point is, it takes a lot of work to remember what the highest values are. It's not what mom or dad used to do. Somebody might have been, the life of the party, and they're slowing down and they're not the life of the party anymore. What you
Yeah.
really need to look for is caregivers who will bridge the gap and create relationships or minimally conversations from elder to elder.
Mhm.
When they're sitting around their lunch table or dinner table and they're having conversation, it's the caregiver who does that, not the individual.
Right.
So, highest values, things like, do they want to stay in their same place? Do they never want to move again? How does that affect your decision in terms of what care is available? Those
Mhm.
are kind of highest values. Highest values in terms of, do they want something that is big enough that they never have to leave their apartment? Or do they really want to go and listen to speakers that are coming into the community? Or they
Mhm.
want to look at their bucket list of things they've wanted to learn, and there's an opportunity for them to learn those things. There's,
Mhm.
they like to go for a drive. Is that available?
Right.
But really figure out their highest values.
Yeah, and I think that's also care, because I remember my mother was on these high-powered, drugs, and I kept saying, we need to pull those back. And all she wanted was to be comfortable. Her comfort was her number one value. And
You know
here,
what, I'm going to interrupt you just a second. That might
yeah,
go right into, does the community have a doctor that comes to the building?
exactly.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh well, Mom, we need to get rid of these things. And I'm just and finally I remember just this light came on when I had a conversation with her doctor. I didn't realize, how much. So anyway, Daphne, you and I, we're going to be right back right after this. Did you know that you can discover hundreds of podcasts in our library on senior care? So visit our website and discover our decision guides that will help you also navigate decision making. Find us at answersforelders.com.